Imagine looking up at the night sky and realizing that something from another star is headed straight for us. Not a meteor, not a comet from our own solar system, but an object that has been traveling for millions of years through the darkness of space, only to arrive right here, right now. Back in 2017, Earth had its first brush with such a visitor, and the scientific community has been debating what it really was ever since. Some said it was just a strange comet. Others whispered about something far more unsettling, the possibility of an alien probe. Now, nearly a decade later, it's happening again. A new interstellar traveler is approaching our solar system. It's bigger, faster, and far more mysterious than the first. And the closer it gets, the more questions arise. Questions that may change how we see our place in the universe forever. In October of 2017, astronomers spotted something unusual slipping through our solar system. At first, it looked like just another comet, the kind we've seen thousands of times before. But almost immediately, things didn't add up. This object had no visible tail, no cloud of gas trailing behind it. And yet, it was moving at a speed that defied explanation, so fast that the sun's gravity couldn't hold it. They named it Oumuamua, a Hawaiian word meaning scout or messenger from afar. And the name was fitting because this wasn't just any space rock. It wasn't born in our solar system at all. It had traveled an unimaginable distance from another star, wandering across the galaxy until it finally crossed our path. The discovery stunned astronomers. For the first time in history, humanity had detected an interstellar object passing through our cosmic backyard. But instead of answers, Oumuamua brought a storm of new mysteries. Mysteries that we still haven't solved. The first real surprise came when astronomers analyzed how light bounced off its surface. Unlike most asteroids, which reflect sunlight in a steady, predictable way, Oumuamua's brightness kept shifting. Bright one moment, dim the next, over and over again, every few hours. The only explanation? The object wasn't round. It was elongated, either long and cigar-shaped or wide and flat like a disc, slowly tumbling end over end as it drifted through space. That alone was strange enough, but there was something else. Oumuamua was unusually reflective, brighter than the dark, rocky asteroids we normally see. It didn't behave like an asteroid, and it didn't look like one either. Some astronomers cautiously suggested it might be an ancient shard of ice from a shattered world, while others couldn't ignore how eerily similar its appearance was to the image of a spacecraft. A long, narrow, reflective object hurtling through the galaxy. It sounded like science fiction, but this was real, and it had already slipped past us before we could take a closer look. And as strange as its appearance was, that wasn't even the most baffling part. If Oumuamua were simply a piece of rock drifting through space, its path should have been easy to explain. The sun's gravity should have slowed it slightly as it passed by, tugging on it the same way it pulls on every planet, asteroid, and comet in the solar system. But that didn't happen. Instead, Oumuamua sped up. That one detail shook the scientific community. Rocks don't accelerate on their own. Something had to be pushing it. With comets, the answer is simple. Ice buried beneath the surface heats up near the sun, turning into gas and blasting outward like tiny thrusters. But Oumuamua had no visible tail, no gas cloud, nothing that looked like a comet. Yet it behaved as if some invisible force was guiding it forward. For some scientists, the explanation was natural but unusual. Maybe it was made of exotic ices we couldn't see, like frozen nitrogen slowly evaporating in the sunlight. But for others, the possibility was harder to ignore. What if the acceleration wasn't natural at all? What if it was power designed built? And that was just the beginning of the debate. Because once Oumuamua vanished back into interstellar space, Earth didn't have to wait long before another mysterious visitor arrived. For centuries, astronomers searched the skies without spotting a single object from beyond our solar system. Then suddenly, after Oumuamua, it was as if the floodgates had opened. Just 2 years later, in 2019, another interstellar traveler was detected. This one was named Borisov, after the amateur astronomer who first spotted it. Unlike Oumuamua, Borisov looked more familiar. It had the glowing halo and long streaming tail we expect from a comet, proof that it was shedding ice and gas as it got closer to the sun. In many ways, Borisov was exactly what scientists had hoped Oumuamua would be, a clear, obvious interstellar comet that fit the rules of physics. But the coincidence was hard to ignore. Humanity had gone from 0 interstellar visitors to 2 in just a handful of years. And the pattern didn't stop there. Not long after Borisov, astronomers spotted a third mysterious object on approach, one that dwarfed the first 2 in both size and strangeness. And this time, we had the chance to watch it as it entered the solar system, heading toward the inner planets. On July 1st, 2025, astronomers detected a new object entering our solar system. Officially, it was labeled 3I/Atlas, but almost immediately, it stood apart from anything we'd ever seen before. This wasn't just another faint blip of light. Atlas was enormous. Its coma stretched nearly 20 kilometers across, and the solid core hidden inside could be as large as 11 kilometers wide. That made it 10 times bigger than Oumuamua and several times larger than Borisov. And it wasn't just size that made Atlas remarkable. It was fast, much faster than the objects that came before it. But most unsettling of all was its trajectory. Oumuamua and Borisov had barreled through the solar system head-on, almost like accidental collisions. Atlas, on the other hand, was coming in from the side, taking a path that would carry it past multiple planets as if on some kind of grand tour. First, it would swing near Mars, then skim past Venus, and later brush close to Jupiter before shooting back into interstellar space. To some, this looked like nothing more than a cosmic coincidence, but to others, it seemed far too deliberate, like something or someone had plotted the course to maximize what could be observed, while carefully avoiding the one planet that might actually notice. Because when Atlas makes its closest pass, Earth will be on the opposite side of the sun, hidden away, unable to see. When the details of Atlas's path became public, speculation spread almost instantly. Some researchers pointed out how neatly it threaded its way past several planets, almost as if it were mapping our solar system. Others noticed the eerie timing, how Earth would be shielded by the sun right as the object made its closest approach. Coincidence? Or something more calculated? Rumors began to swirl online that Atlas could be more than just a comet. Some claimed it might be an ancient probe drifting across the galaxy for billions of years, programmed to gather information without revealing itself too directly. After all, if a civilization advanced enough to launch such a mission existed, they might prefer to observe from a distance rather than risk exposure. Of course, mainstream scientists are quick to point out that natural explanations exist. Atlas behaves like a comet in many ways, and its enormous size could account for its unusual brightness and trajectory. Still, the thought lingers. If even one interstellar object were truly artificial, It would rewrite everything we'd know about life in the universe. And the mystery doesn't stop there, because while theories of alien probes capture headlines, the scientific community has its own competing explanations, ones that are just as fascinating in their own way. While the idea of an alien probe makes headlines, scientists have proposed other explanations that are equally intriguing. One theory suggests that objects like Oumuamua and Atlas could be fragments of distant frozen worlds, chunks blasted into space after cataclysmic collisions. Instead of being made of water ice like the comets we're used to, these shards might be formed of exotic ices we rarely see, such as frozen nitrogen or carbon dioxide. Take Pluto, for example. Its surface is covered with nitrogen ice, which reflects sunlight brightly, much like Oumuamua did. If a massive impact shattered a planet or moon like Pluto in another star system, the fragments could drift across the galaxy for billions of years. Over time, one of those shards might eventually find its way here, and as it approaches the sun, the invisible gases released could act like tiny thrusters, pushing the object just enough to make its path seem unnatural, without ever showing the bright tail of a comet. This idea doesn't disprove the alien probe hypothesis, but it does offer a natural explanation that fits the data. Either way, the mystery remains unsolved. We're left with two possibilities: a rare and exotic fragment from a distant world, or technology from a civilization beyond our own. And with Atlas still moving deeper into the solar system, we may finally have a chance to get closer to an answer. The real difference with Atlas is timing. With Oumuamua, we realized too late what we were looking at. It had already passed by and was vanishing into the void before we could even prepare. But Atlas is still inbound, and that gives us a rare opportunity. For the first time, astronomers can track an interstellar visitor as it approaches the inner solar system, watching its every move in real time. Even more exciting, Atlas won't be entirely out of reach. While building and launching a new spacecraft on short notice is nearly impossible, we already have probes orbiting Mars and Jupiter that could, in theory, be redirected to get closer. Some have even suggested a daring maneuver in which NASA's Juno spacecraft, currently orbiting Jupiter, could be slingshotted out into deep space to intercept Atlas on its outbound journey. It's a long shot, but not impossible. If that happened, humanity could finally study an interstellar object up close, something we've never done before. Imagine the images, the data, the clues about how these visitors are formed or whether they're formed at all. Whether natural shard or engineered machine, one thing is certain: Atlas could hold answers that Oumuamua and Borisov left behind as mysteries. But even if no spacecraft makes the trip, telescopes across Earth and beyond will be locked on this object for months. And every new observation could bring us closer to solving one of the biggest cosmic puzzles of our time. In just a few short years, we've gone from believing our solar system was isolated to realizing that interstellar visitors may pass by more often than we ever imagined. First came Oumuamua, breaking every rule we thought we understood. Then Borisov, a more familiar but still astonishing traveler from the stars. And now, Atlas, bigger, faster, and stranger than anything before it. Each one raises the same unsettling question: are these simply shards of ancient worlds drifting endlessly across the galaxy? Or are they something more, evidence that we are not alone and that other civilizations may already be watching? For now, the truth remains hidden in the cold silence of space. But if 3 objects have found their way to us in such a short time, how many more are out there, moving silently between the stars, waiting for their turn to appear in our skies? One thing is certain: Atlas will not be the last. And the next time the universe sends us a messenger, we may finally learn whether we've been witnessing the forces of nature or the whispers of another intelligence.